All right, Commissioners, we're now going to go back to public hearing item number 6, which was an application for a certificate of appropriateness. Sorry, public meeting number 6, certificate of appropriateness at 277 West 10th Street in the Greenwich Village Historic District Extension. And this is a Romanesque revival-style warehouse building designed by Marvin V.B. Furden and built in 1894 to 96, and a two-story house built in 1974 to 78. And this was an application to demolish the two-story house, construct a new one-story building, enlarge an existing rooftop addition, and install rooftop mechanical equipment, and alter the facades and install windows. And this was presented earlier today. Hillary is just going to give you a quick recap of the proposal that was presented.
This is a current photograph of the building located at the corner of West 10th and Washington Street. And you'll notice that there's a large portion of the cornice that's missing, and it was removed prior to designation. The proposal is to demolish this two-story home and install a new entrance at the same location, removing infill, and then installing infill that matches infill on the opposite side of the street on Washington. They're also proposing to install aluminum clad windows at all of the arched openings, but maintaining the historic configuration. And then they're also proposing to install a new bay of lot line windows on the east facade and enlarge openings on the lot line facades. At the roof, there are currently 3 rooftop additions, and the proposal is to infill around those and install new mechanical equipment, roof and mechanical enclosure. There is some visibility over the West 10th facade. Up Washington Street, you can see a portion of the enclosure from that vantage point. You can also see the addition down West 10th Street from that direction. And then also there's visibility over the 2 side secondary facades.
But there's no change to the number 3 is an existing.
Number 3
Right.
is existing.
There's no change to that.
There's no change to this, the bulk. They're adding a railing at the top of that.
So in plan, the orange part are the new parts that are filling in between the existing penthouses. So in the 1970s, this building was converted to residential, and that's when the rooftop additions were added. So this is sort of an evolution of that, adaptive for use. In the 1970s, there was an entrance that was constructed here. So the proposal is to demolish the existing 1970s building and construct a new one-story building that is evocative of the little garages that are found adjacent to the bigger warehouse buildings in the district, to create a new entrance so that the loading bays can be restored. And at the hearing earlier, there was a consensus for approval. There was some discussion about restoring the missing portion of the cornice, but because the primary views of the penthouse are really over the secondary facades, and what you see over the missing cornice is primarily the existing penthouse, and the view doesn't change that, wouldn't change that much if you restored the cornice.
Right.
The existing penthouses are also grandfathered additions that the consensus was to approve of.
Right, and just one other point to be made was that there were certain practical difficulties in actually bringing back the cornice based on Buildings Department's interpretation of floor area. You may know this already. So that really created a problem for them. So it was either, if you in fact put back the facade, you take away most of their Unit 2, which they're proposing over there, because it would have to be set back significantly. Right, you'd have to have you'd have to actually basically install a deck or something higher the level of. Yeah, exactly. So there was a real difficulty in that, and I think the commission overall felt that, at least in our discussions, that there were certain positives that were done overall to the building, but the fact that there's a history of these penthouses, even if there's some visibility, it would not detract. And I think Roberta was on board with that, even though I know her concern was to, Roberta, you're okay with that, right? I know that you wanted the,
Well, I mean, I can approve.
Okay.
I just, it's not a landmark building.
Right.
Not an
But
individual.
It's not an individual landmark.
It's not an individual landmark, right? Okay.
I just have one question about the two facades. Where was the original entrance to the building? So that infill sort of restores it back to what it was originally, right? Close enough?
Well, the building originally had loading bays. It never had a main entrance.
Oh, I see. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Strange.
All right, Michael, would you like to read it, please? Thank you.
Sorry, wasn't looking at it, but I have to go back, which, thanks.
This is not it, sorry. Just 1 second. 6 of what?
Six.
Green, number 6.
Sorry.
Got it.
Six.
There we go.
Thank you.
In the matter of 277 West 10th Street in the Greenwich Village Historic District Extension, an application to demolish a house, construct a one-story building, enlarge the rooftop addition, install rooftop mechanical equipment, and alter the facade and install windows, I recommend approval. Finding that the proposed enlargements of the existing rooftop additions will be primarily visible only over the secondary facades and will be visible over the West 10th Street facade against a backdrop of other buildings, minimizing their impact upon the skyline and significant protective features of the building. That the design of the additions, featuring large glass windows, zinc cladding, and painted metal railings, present a clean and simple mass that remains subservient to the massive quality of the building below. That the more visible north wall of the addition incorporates brick, visually extending the existing masonry wall below, thereby reducing its visual impact from the street. That the proposed mechanical equipment will be centralized and set back from the facades of the building and enclosed in a simple metal enclosure, thereby reducing visual clutter. That the proposed aluminum replacement windows will match the historic windows at the arched openings in terms of configuration, details, profiles, dimensions, and finish. The demolition of the existing modern townhouse, garden, and back house will not result in the loss of significant historic fabric. That the construction of the one-story new building, subgrade extension, and garden terrace, which will approximate the current garden level, will not result in loss of central green space. That the simple massing finishes and details of the new building, featuring brick and a single large opening with a multi-light black steel and glass doors and windows, will recall historic garage buildings seen in historic photos of the site and other examples found throughout the district, and will not draw undue attention to itself or call attention away from the primary facades of the building at the large corner. That the new windows and infill at the former entrance bay at the West 10th Street facade will match an existing installation and will be in keeping with the service entrances historically found on this building. That the minimal enlargement of existing windows and additional bays and windows of previously altered secondary facades will not detract from the primary facades and are in keeping with the character of the lot line facades. That the full excavation of the cellar and rear yard will be designed and built in compliance with DOB regulations under supervision of a licensed professional engineer to protect the building and adjacent buildings, and that the proposed work will be supportive of the architectural and historic character of the building and the Greenwich Village Historic District Extension.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, this resolution's been passed.
Okay, we're now going to go back to public